Aloha everyone from rainy Hawaii. This is one of my pre-recorded classes for you to practice while I'm traveling. And at this point, I'm either in Mexico or Ireland and thinking about you all. Today's sequence is inspired by my longtime teacher, Paul. This sequence is more Iyengar based, and if you are familiar with Iyengar yoga or not, today's practice will have more of a focus on a specific action throughout the whole sequence. Iyengar yoga could be described as skill in action. What I love about this type of practice is it helps me get away from external distractions, and I can use it as a form of meditation. So you can have your own experience and see what you think today. So we will need a strap and probably 2 blocks and a few blankets. Always a good idea to have all your props nearby. Okay, so we are going to start sitting in Sukasana. Elevate your hips so that your knees go below your waistline. Place your hands up or down on your legs. Close your eyes. Bring the crown of your head over the base of your spine. So I like to start with just an overall structure of our seat, moving the upper arm bones in line with the side body. So use your senses to detect where you are in space. Use this moment as a transitional opportunity. So from whatever you were just doing before you arrived on your mat, you can now draw your attention, draw your focus to right here, right now. Connecting with your foundation, the physical seat. Connecting with your emotional, energetic self, and also the mind. So notice what is transpiring today and see if you can be in a place of embracing, allowing, as we use the physical practice today, certain key actions as a way to direct our focus, our attention, so that we can be here now a bit more. Take a slightly deeper inhalation and a slightly deeper exhalation. And be patient. It might take you a little while to deepen your in-breath. So do so in such a way where you're trying to avoid hardness or gripping. And as you exhale, press the spine taller, even if it's just energetically, reach up. So continue the breath at your own pace. And then simultaneously bring some attention to your scapula, specifically the shoulder blades. And not too dramatically, but drawing the bottom tips of the shoulder blades in towards the chest as you move the upper arm bones back. Blink the eyes open. Let's take a turn to the right. So right hand behind you. Elevate the right hand if you are sitting on a lot of proppage. Left hand outside the right leg. And let's focus a bit here on the left shoulder blade. Notice how it might feel as if it's widening a bit. Might seem slightly counterintuitive, but can you draw your left shoulder blade slightly in towards the spine and a bit more in toward your chest? And yes, your right shoulder blade is also drawing in, but let's bring just a bit more attention for right now in the left shoulder blade. Deepen the breath. Deepen the out breath. Look forward. And then release, unwind. Let's change the crossing of your legs. Make any subtle adjustments. And then we'll rotate to the left. So left hand behind you on the block, on the floor, on your fingertips. Right hand outside the left leg. Let's draw the right shoulder blade towards the spine and in towards the chest. So these are postures we do quite frequently. See if you can have a fresh mind, and we're focusing on specific action today. See if you can let that be your source of mindfulness. So again, right shoulder blade drawing towards the spine and slightly in toward your chest. So again, the left shoulder blade is still also drawing in towards the spine and in towards the chest. And then release. Come back to the center. Extend your legs out. And then come off your support. Move your blanket off to the side. If you want to put a blanket under your head, if you need that, go for it. Lie on your back. Have your strap nearby. And then first, Supta Tadasana. So draw your legs all the way together if possible, but feel free to have them wider if that feels better for your back. So always know that when I give specific instructions, make it work for you. There's no hard rules here. Press your thighs down. Also keep your heels on the floor. So thighs down first, then a little bit of lengthening of your tailbone towards the heels without letting your thighs lift. Take the arms over your head. So as if in Urdhva Hastasana. Hook your thumbs together. If that's a little bit too tight for the shoulders, then separate the hands instead. And then draw back. Draw your back ribs towards the fingertips. Exhale, release a bit down through the diaphragm, the frontal ribs. Growing, lengthening in both directions. Breathe in. Exhale, lower the arms. Take your strap, Supta Padangustasana. If you can easily hold the big toe with your thumb and first two fingers, go for it. Otherwise, take your right leg up, one strap in each hand. Hook the shoulders down, bring a lift to the sternum. So once again, the shoulder blades, that's part of our focus today. Draw the bottom tips of the shoulder blades up into the chest. Hook the shoulders down towards the floor. Drag the right hip slightly away from you as you keep your left thigh bone heavy. And then just for today, bring your right leg closer to the body. Still try to keep the space in the lumbar. But just see, go a little bit to your edge here. Bring that leg in a bit closer. Unharden the shoulders, unharden the jaw and the eyes. And then release your right leg. Bring both feet together, legs together. Take your arms over your head, hook your other thumb. Elongate from inside the body, from inside the ribs, reach towards the fingertips. your thighs rooted. Breathing in. Deep exhale. Lower your arms. Bring your left knee into the chest. Either hold the big toe or take your left leg up. Incidentally, if you're a bit stiff in the legs, the hips, you could walk your right leg a bit more to the right. Internally rotate the right leg down. Hook the shoulders down, lift the bottom tips of the shoulder blades up. And steady breathing. Play with your edge a bit today. So bring the left leg closer. We don't always do that, but bring the left leg in and in and in towards the body. But keep the heart open. Try to keep the pubis down. And then release your left leg. For now, put the strap to the side. Bring both knees to your chest. Apanasana. And then take the arms out to the side like a T. I only have space to do my right arm, but you take both arms out to the side. Bring the knees towards the body, and then exhale. Take your knees over towards your right elbow. Can you keep your left shoulder on the ground? So left shoulder stays down. If the shoulder's off the floor, then don't take the knees as far over. So let the left shoulder head stay down. Left shoulder blade moving into the chest. Either keep your knees here or keep the knees at the same angle, but straighten both legs. Exhale down through both shoulders, but shoulder blades lifting a bit. So Jathara Parivartanasana. Bend the knees first. Bring your knees back to center. Pause. So both arms extending out, palms turning up. Exhale, bring your knees over to the left. But as soon as your right shoulder comes off the floor, I'm going to say don't take the legs down as far. So shoulder heads down, move the shoulder blade tips into the body. Knees up towards your elbow. And then keep the angle of the legs. If it's okay on your back, straighten both legs. Jathara Parivartanasana, so stomach churning pose. Shoulder blades in, shoulder heads down. Fill up with breath. Stay here. Let the exhale, belly, ribs turning softly to the right. Bend your knees. Inhale, come back to the center. Hips stay pressing down, shoulders pressing down. Take the right arm over your head, roll to your right side, and then come on up. Legs out in front. This one, you might need a blanket or two or a block. It's Bharadvadrasana. I'm going to mirror you. So we're going to be taking the legs over to the left. So you lean a bit over to the right. Bring the legs over to the left. So your knees are facing forward. Your left foot rests in the arch of your right foot. Notice how when we do this, the pelvis is most likely unlevel or uneven. So for me, I'm going to put a blanket underneath my right sit bone. You could use a block under both sit bones. You could put a blanket or a block underneath the right one so that the end product is your hip bones being a bit more level. Knees facing forward, knees on the ground. Take the right hand behind you and left hand outside the leg. Once again, returning to the action of the shoulder blades. So starting with the left one. Left shoulder blade, draw it in towards the spine and in towards your chest. And then probably more noticeable, the right shoulder blade moving in towards the chest and towards the spine. Try to really sit down also on the left sit bone. Notice how it wants to lift way up off the floor. Try to exhale, bring a sense of evenness. Full breath in. Stay here. Exhale the shoulder blades. Look forward and then release. Reach your legs out in front. I'm going to come off the blanket for a moment. So Dandasana. And then over to the right side. So both feet to the right. Right foot will land in the arch of your left foot. Knees forward, knees on the ground. You could put a blanket under the knees if they're hovering. And then elevate your either just the left hip. If that brings you a sense of evenness through your hip bones, then do that. Draw the right sit bone, right hip down. And as I mentioned earlier, you could be on a block. Sometimes a block is nice underneath the two sit bones. And then we'll rotate to the left. So there could be a case for you to say like, hey, I want to let my right hip lift a bit. So if you have disc issues, something's going on with your lower back and you need to kind of go with the direction of the rotation, totally fine. Otherwise, sit the right hip and the right leg down, the right sit bone down. Inhale, lift up through both sides of the body. And then exhale, shoulder blades. So start with the right one on this side, the less obvious one. So right shoulder blade drawing towards the spine and in towards your chest. The left shoulder rolling back, the left shoulder blade moving in. Have a full breath. Stay here, play with the exhale in relationship with the shoulder blades. And then look forward, unwind, stretch your legs out. I'm just going to sit right in the center of that one blanket, flexing the feet, Dandasana. Come off your support. Move that blanket off to the side for now. Come back onto your back. Have your strap nearby. Draw your legs together. Legs straight. So Supta Tadasana. And then adding an Urdhva Hastasana action. So arms over. This time interlace your fingers and press your palms back. Press all four corners of the feet away from you. I'm going to suggest a little bit more awareness on the inner leg, inner heel. Draw the pinky toes back. And then extract your torso away from your hips, away from your legs. Keep the length, lower your arms, get your strap, Supta Padangustasana. Again, you could hold the big toe. You can use your strap. Reach up through the calf, through the heel, mounds of the toes. Hook the shoulder blades up into your chest. Today, we're playing with bringing that top leg in just a bit more than what you normally do. You can live a little bit today. But as you bring it in, keep trying to drag the right hip slightly down and away from you. real slow like. Release the strap or the toe, lower your right leg down. Maybe the leg feels slightly longer. Then bring the inner edges of your feet together, arms over your head. Interlace the opposite thumb and fingers. Press back. Reach out through the legs. Reach down as well through the legs. And extract the torso. Breathe in. Exhale, lower the arms. Bring the left knee in. Hold the big toe or strap around your left foot. Take your left leg up. So for this round, I'm holding my big toe. I don't often do that, so I'm just playing with, hey, you know what? Sometimes do things opposite of what you normally do. Now, if my alignment was super off and I was rounding a lot and creating more tension, then yes, go back to, going the normal route with the strap. So you explore. Draw the leg in a bit closer today. Keep the right leg steady. Lift your chest a bit. So hook those shoulder blades up. Even though you're on your back, it's not like a bridge pose per se, but can you lift the shoulder blades just mildly up, even if it's just energetically right now? And then let go of your straps or your foot. Slowly lower your left leg down. Pause. Bring both knees into your chest, Apanasana. Cross your right leg all the way over your left leg. Lift your hips. So you can have your hands on the floor. Lift your hips a little. Shift your hips 2 inches to the right or so. Then you'll take your knees to the left. So we do that so that your tailbone, spine, crown of the head are pretty much in a plumb line. We don't always do that. They both styles of twists have their effects. Either keep the head on straight or you can look towards your right hand. And once again, our skill in action today, specifically shoulder blades imprinting into the chest. Full breath in. And deep exhale all the way through. And then come on back to the center. So first, even your hips out on the center of your mat. Cross the other leg on top. Left leg over. Just lift your hips a little. Scooch the hips to the left. And then take your knees over to the right. Extend out through the left arm. And then either keep the head on straight or turn to look towards the left hand. Drawing the shoulder blades in. So receive a fuller breath. Deep exhale. Even at the bottom of your exhale, exhale further. On your next in breath, so be with your pace. Bring your knees up to the center. Exhale, bring your hips to center of your mat. Uncross your legs, hug your knees in. And then roll to either side. Press yourself on up. And Dandasana. I am going to sit to the side for this one for a moment. Do a little prep work here before we go to the pose I want to do. So sit in Dandasana. fingertips. So sometimes being on the fingertips, you can access the shoulder blade tips a little easier. So do that. Fingertips pressing down, shoulder blades pressing in. Relax your right leg, hand behind your right knee, bend it off to the side. So a Janusirsasana leg. If you need to put something underneath this right knee, go for it. Take both arms up. Shift slightly to the front of your sit bones, hinge at the hip, go forward. Hold the foot or the big toe or use your strap. So if you feel like the back is super rounded, I'm gonna say use a strap. And hey, if you always hold the foot and the toe, maybe today you try it with a strap. And if you always use a strap, and maybe today you could hold the big toe or the inner outer edge of your foot, you can try that. Lift the spine. So we're not about going forward here. So I want you to be more upright, draw the vertebrae of your spine in towards the body. So I've got this left thigh bone steady. And then extending out from that inner right groin down into the knee. So let that be part of your base as well. Lift the side, armpit, chest area, melt the upper back muscle down. Release your foot or your strap. Take your right hand into the right knee, lift your knee up, and then straighten your right leg. Dandasana, let's come up onto the fingertips. Hand behind your left knee. Take the left knee out to the side. Janusirsasana. Inhale, bring your arms up, lift up off the pelvis, hinge from the hips, and then either hold your big toe with the thumbs and first two fingers, hold the inner outer edge of your foot, or once again, use your strap. Try something new. And stay more upright. So descending your right thigh bone, extending from the inner groin out to the knee. Lift the side chest, armpit, chest area, sternum tall, but exhale, let the chin drop slightly down. Let's have a breath in. And let's have a breath out. And then we'll release the strap. Back to Dandasana. So stretch the left leg out. I'm going to shift to facing you again. So Dandasana, this one's going to be Bharadvadrasana 2, and if it's not happening for you today, you could do the first version we did a few postures a while ago, not too long ago. Okay, so what you would do is you're going to be taking the legs over to the left side. So if you're going to do regular Bharadvadrasana, take both feet over to the left, your left foot lands in the arch of your right foot. Now, if you're going to do Bharadvadrasana 2, extend your right leg forward. Double check that your left foot is reaching straight back. And then bend your right knee. You can let the right knee go a little bit off to the side. And then this leg goes into half Padmasana. So I'm going to hold the outer foot, the outer shin, and bring the right heel up towards the left hip. And then this right knee draws somewhat in towards the midline. If this knee is coming way up off the floor and there's no pain there, you can put something underneath it. If it's higher, if it's starting to go hip height, I would say go back to Bharadvadrasana 1. No pain in your knees. And then rotate to the right. There is a classic bind here. You would take the right arm out to the side, bring it behind the back, and you might hold the big toe or the top of the foot, the front of the foot, and then left hand outside your right leg. Otherwise, you can do the half lotus and twist without doing the arm bind. And let's go back to that left shoulder blade. Draw it in and towards the spine. And of course, the right shoulder blade also drawing in and towards the spine. Breathing in. Breathing out. Look forward and then release, and stretch your right leg out and your left leg out. Have a moment, Dandasana, fingertips pressing down. Move your shoulder blades up into the heart, and then you can take the gaze down towards the toes. I feel like Bharadvadrasana is one of those poses that doesn't get done all that often. It does in Iyengar classes, but in classic vinyasa classes, hatha classes, I feel like it's not as popular, but it's a real interesting pose. So I'm going to be bringing it more into our sequences. All right, other side. So if you're going to go to Bharadvadrasana, also it's a good tongue twister. Knees to the right. Let your right foot rest in the arch of your left foot, and then see how you want to position that blanket underneath the left buttock. Those of you going into Bharadvadrasana 2, extend your left leg out. Double check that your right foot is going straight back. Bend your left knee, let it go off to the side. Hold the outer foot, outer shin, and bring the left heel up towards that right hip. Bring the leg in, and make sure there's no pain on this left knee whatsoever. So do no harm. Rotate to your left, and some of you will take the left arm behind the back and reach for the front of the foot, the big toe. Exhale, draw the back ribs in and draw the shoulder blades in. Let's bring some awareness again first to the right shoulder blade. Draw that in towards the spine, in towards the chest. Right side of the chest lifting, right shoulder blade also moving in. Full breath. Deep exhale. Look forward and then release. Gently let go of that Padmasana leg if you're in that, and then reach your right leg forward. Even out your hips on your support. Bring your fingertips next to your hips. Draw the shoulder blade tips in, and then maybe look down at the big toes. So keep your heart lifted as you drop your eyes to the toes. Descend the legs, grow upward through the spine. Come off your support. Move the blanket off to the side. One more time, we're going to lie on the back. So have your strap nearby. Lower slowly. Legs together, Supta Tadasana. Take the arms over your head. This time, hands shoulder distance apart. Turn your inner arms and palms to face each other. Elongate. Release the arms. Stay long through the sides, through the spine. Bend the right knee. Take the strap around your right foot. This time we'll add a new variation of this. So If you're holding the strap, place both straps in your left hand. If you are holding the foot, hold the outer edge of your foot with your left hand. Right thumb into that right hip crease. Drag the right hip slightly down and take your right leg just a few inches to the left. So much that it just crosses the belly button. Bring the right foot up towards your left shoulder. Any amount, doesn't have to be a huge movement. Exhale, right hip crease, right thigh, moving towards the hamstrings, away from you. Keep your left foot flexed, left leg active. And then we'll go all the way into the twist. So let your right hip come off the floor. Take your leg all the way across. I'm just going to move over so that I can do this pose fully. So right leg goes all the way across. And then the right arm extends out to the side. You also might look down and see that your left foot is in line with your left hip and pretty much in line with your spine. And drive the right foot from the right pelvis, right side of your pelvis. Press out through the right leg, right foot. Check in with the shoulder blades. So exhale, roll the shoulder heads down. Draw the shoulder blade tips up into your chest. Draw a bigger breath in. And a big breath out. So as you exhale, soften the belly, allow the ribs, belly, organs to feel as if they're turning to the right. And then bring your right leg back up. Bring it in a little closer. And then release your right leg. Just have a moment extending both legs. And then last side here, take your left leg up, either one strap, both straps in the left hand. Right hand. Both straps in the right hand. Or you're holding the outer edge of your left foot with your right hand. No rush. Hook this right arm, right shoulder, head down. That's holding the outer foot with that right hand. It's pretty tricky. So if that shoulder is coming way up off the ground and your head is also coming off the ground, I'm going to recommend using a strap. If you don't have a strap, just hold lower on the leg or closer to the floor. Okay. Take the left thumb in the hip crease and then take your leg slightly to the right. Left hip elongates away from you. So we're moving towards Parshva or Parivrtta Supta Padangustasana. Bring the foot slightly up towards your right shoulder. And then we'll go for the full twist. So lift your hip up, that right hip, and then take your left leg across. Peek down, see that your right leg is in line with that right hip, pretty much in line with the spine. Take the left arm out. You can keep the head looking upright or look towards your left hand. Exhale, soften in the belly. So it's not like we're moving the organs, but we are stimulating, with the breathing, with these rotational postures. There is a bit of squeezing and soaking sensation. Draw the bottom tips of the shoulder blades up into your chest. On your next inhalation, bring your left leg back up. And then release your left leg. Move your strap off to the side and then have a moment. Just relax both legs, a little Savasana taster, but this is not the Savasana. Okay. Bring your knees to your chest. Roll to either side and then come on up. Okay, this one we're going to get 2 blocks. And hey, when we do this next pose in a moment, if you can do this with your hips hovering, go for it. All right, it's going to be Pasasana. A lot of you have done this with me. So you have your 2 blocks. I'll do a side angle view for you. So you're going to sit on your 2 blocks. And if you don't have 2 blocks, you could sit up on an edge of a bolster or a bunch of blankets. Just really prop them up pretty well. And then bring your feet closer to the blocks. But make sure your heels can be on the ground. So you walk them in as far as you can, but yet still keeping your heels on the ground. And then sit up tall. From here, you're going to let your knees drift slightly over to the left. Right hand can go on your hip or sacrum. Take your left arm, reach it up. So get lots of height and space. Exhale, turn. So revolve to your right. Keep looking for space as you hook your left arm. And then bring your knees gently back to facing forward. Then we've got some options with the arms. So you can stay here. You could bring your palms together, right hand on top of left. Try to bring the thumbs so they land in front of your sternum. Some of you might take this right arm back and then behind the back. So you'd reach for the top of your left thigh. Eventually you wrap your left arm around the shin bone and reach for the hands. I'm not going to do that one today, but if I wanted to break it down, I'd get a strap and bring it behind my back so that I could connect the hands. So Pasasana. Find a spot for your gaze if you want to look down, in front of the knees to release your neck. But yet exhaling, soften the belly, still turning your ribs to the right. You can also look to the side or look up. And release, unwind. Come back to the center. This is a big stretch, at least for me right now, on the front of my shins. I played pickleball today, and now I'm feeling like, wow, works the front of the shins. Okay, so let your knees go a little bit over to the right. Left hand on your hip. Take your right arm up. Reach up. So first elevate, elongate. Keep elongating as you hook the elbow. And then bring your knees back to the center. And then you choose your arms. Left hand on top of right. Open your chest. Bring your thumbs in line with the sternum. Or wrap the left arm behind the back. Press the back ribs in. Press the shoulder blades in. Deep inhale and deep exhale. Unwind. Come on back to center. Close your eyes. Okay. Open your eyes. So come off of your support. Move your blocks off to the side. Come onto all fours. Bring your hands slightly in front of your shoulders. Root the inner palms, keep the whole palm down. Tuck your toes under Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So here we're in shoulder flexion and upward rotation of the scapula. So here the shoulder blades widen across the back. So they're actually broadening a bit away from the spine. And visualize your outer wings or those outer shoulder blades reaching towards the fingertips. And then the inner shoulder blades lift towards your pelvis. All that being said, still imprint the whole scapula a bit in towards your chest. Come down onto your knees and then come down onto your forearms. So setting up for Dolphin Pose, bring your elbows right below your shoulders. When you interlace the fingers, be kind. Try not to death grip them together. Shrug your shoulders, lift the shoulders away from the floor. Turn the toes under again. Dolphin Pose, so lift your knees, walk your feet in. You can relax the head, but keep your head off of the floor. Move your shoulder blades into your chest. So we're still in upward rotation and flexion, so the shoulder blades widen and the outer shoulder blades press down towards your elbows and your forearms. And we're still lifting the inner shoulder blades up towards your hips. And then finally, can you imprint the shoulder blades in toward your chest? Breathe in. Exhale. Walk your feet back a little bit. Come on down, child's pose. So toes together, knees apart. Do what you like with your arms. So before we come up out of child's pose, the next posture would be headstand. Since it's a recorded class and I can't see you, I am going to offer up a different pose. However, if you practice headstand on a regular basis, so please, only if you practice this pose normally, you could take a headstand or enjoy a headstand. Otherwise, we're going to get our 2 blocks. And we will have 1 block on the medium height and 1 block on the low height. You could do the low block, like the one that's going to be for your shoulder blades, you could put it medium, and you could do the block for your head on the tall level. I'm also going to give a couple different options for this pose as well. So first option, if you're able to do Virasana, knees together, feet apart, sitting between the feet, you can do that. Also, you could do this with a bolster behind you. You could have a block or blankets underneath the sit bones. So if you are doing Virasana, you're going to lift your hips a little, scoop the buttock to the knees, place the hips back down. I'm currently holding this 1 block. I'm placing it right behind my shoulder blades. And then the other block can go behind your head. And then arms out to the side, turn your palms up. Another option is to hold your elbows and go back. If you're not doing Virasana, you could do legs out in front of you. So basically a Tadasana leg, and then do the same thing with the blocks. And hey, you could play with the height of the block that's underneath your head. Like I just lowered mine a little bit. So both the one under my shoulder blades and the one underneath my head are level. And then find your arm option, either arms over, hold your elbows, or arms out to the side. Regardless of where you're at, imprinting a bit of the shoulder blades into your chest. So even those of you that are doing Shirshasana headstand, Move the back ribs in, move your shoulder blades in. Lift up out of your shoulders. Those of you with the legs straight, or if you're in Virasana, root the legs down. Lengthen the tailbone towards the back of your knees. If you are holding your opposite elbows, switch the arm that is in front. Lengthen the side ribs, through the armpit, through the elbows. As you exhale, release through the diaphragm, release through the frontal ribs, any amount. Release the arms. So if you're in Shirshasana, root down, lift higher as you lower your legs. If you are on your back, bring your head up last. So press off your hands, use your legs, and then puff your chest to come on up and have a moment. So if you are in headstand, take a child's pose. Well, you're not taking it, you're having one, you're enjoying one. You're practicing one. And then if you were lying on your back, enjoy a moment of Virasana. You can close the eyes, fold one of your hands into the opposite palm. Okay. Open your eyes. If you're in child's pose, come on up. Then we'll all bring our legs out in front of us. You can move those blocks off to the side. Padasana or Setubandha Sarvangasana. So your knees will be bent, feet hip distance. Slowly lower yourself down. I'm going to give you some options here. So a classic Padasana. You would take your hands and hold at the bottom of your shin, like towards the ankle, and then you lift up. For me right now, that's a little stiff, that's a little tight, so I'm going to walk my feet further forward. I'm going to step on my hands. I'm going to turn my palms up and place part of my hand underneath the heels of my feet. Then I'm going to lift up and walk my arms underneath the back. So currently today, this is how I'm doing my Setubandha or my Padasana. You could also do a classic bridge pose, arms out to the side, hands clasped under the back. And then try not to move your head. So once you've lifted, even on the setup, keep your head positioned in the one spot. Or down with your legs. Lift up with the shoulder blades. Breathe in. Exhale. Lower your hips. Slide your hands out from under your feet if you were in fact standing on your hands. And then we'll have one more active back bend. So you can stick with Padasana or Setubandha. If you're in the mood for an Urdhva Danurasana, bring your hands back near your shoulders. Hug your arms in. So your triceps, upper arms become more parallel. Breathing in. And as you exhale, lightly come up to the crown of the head. Not a lot of weight. Double check that your wrists are under the elbows. Firm the arms in. Draw the arms into the socket. Inhale, press all the way up. Relax your neck. Spin your inner groins down. Move the shoulder blades into the chest. So even though this is upward rotation, the outer shoulder blades widen, but yet still imprint the thoracic spine, the middle upper back in. Breathe in. Exhale, slowly hug your arms in as you lower yourself down. Settle down into the floor. Okay, I'm going to give you another option. Supported bridge into Viparita Karani, or you could do Viparita Karani at the wall with a bolster or blankets. Or, if possible, we will have a shoulder stand. So I will use about 3 blankets. When you set yourself up, be particular about how you use your blankets. So the neat edges face the back of your mat. I like to leave a little bit of mat showing, just so it's a little bit of grip there, but not so much where your head and your neck get stuck on the sticky mat. I'm going to draw my mat further away from the wall and then folding the blanket over. So I'm not going to take this whole mat over the whole thing, but I'm leaving a little bit of blanket space. Since I have this other blanket available, I'm going to put it right here for a launching pad. You could use a couple blocks. You could put a bolster there. And then lie on my back. Make sure your shoulders are on the blankets evenly. Your head and neck are off the blankets. If you know that you're a slider, when you go back to plow, like your shoulders go too far back, just make sure you allow a little bit of space there between the top of your shoulder and the edge of the blanket. Don't move your head. Press your hands down. Breathe in. Exhale, bring your knees to your chest, and then take your legs back to Halasana, plow. Walk your arms under the back. Don't pull them down the back, just under the back. Hands on your back. Walk your hands closer to the floor. Bend both knees. Take the legs straight up. You could do one leg at a time. Once you're there, periodically walk your hands down towards the floor. Move your back ribs in towards the front body. Have just as much rooting down through your elbows as the upper arms. Spin your inner thighs forward and also lift your inner legs. Lift the outer legs as well, but maybe a bit more energy through the inner to start with. Relax your throat, your jaw, release your eyes. Notice when the back starts to roll out a little bit or starts to round, walk your hands further down towards the floor. Lift your pelvis up through your legs. So drive yourself up. Spine, pelvis, legs. Those of you in Viparita Karani on the blocks, draw the hamstrings, draw the sit bones down. And open the heart, open the chest area, shoulder blades move in. Those of you, if you're doing Viparita Karani with the bolster and you're at the wall, make sure the hips are dropping down, level with the frontal ribs. So your hips are not higher than your ribs. Okay, those of us in shoulder stand, walk your hands closer to the floor, get some more height first, then either one or both legs. Keep lifting the spine as you lower the legs. Don't move your head. We're going back into Plow Pose, Halasana. You can release the arms out away from you, or if you want to bring your arms back towards your feet. Press the legs up. Root the toes down. If you want to do Karnipidasana, knees around your ears. You can wrap the arms around your legs, up to you. When we come out of this, bring your arms away from you again. So supporting the arms on the floor, and then slowly lower yourself down. As I lower myself down, actually let the head tilt back a little. Once your hips are safely down, and then your feet stay low, scooch back so your shoulders come on the ground. So a little bit of a counter pose from shoulder stance. Your shoulders are down, the blankets are pressing into the shoulder blades a bit. Those of you in Viparita Karani on the blocks, lift your hips, remove your blocks, lower your hips down. And then same with Viparita Karani at the wall. You can lift up, move your bolster to one side, and then roll to the other side. So those of you that were doing Viparita Karani, let your knees rock a little bit side to side. And then we'll all bring the knees in, roll to either side. Press yourself on up. So if you were in shoulder stand, go ahead and move your props. Keep the yoga happening. So be real thoughtful, mindful how you're transitioning here. And then our final pose before Savasana, have perhaps a blanket or two. We started here today, Sukasana. Sit up tall and then go forward. So now don't worry so much, or not that we're worrying at all, but don't make it about drawing the shoulder blades in so much. Let the shoulder blades broaden, let your back broaden. So counterposing a lot of the focus. However, still lengthen the front of the body. We're not completely collapsing down over the legs here. We're keeping some integrity through the front of the spine. From the seat, initiate the coming up action. Change the crossing of your legs. Elongate and then go forward one more time. Try to bring some balance to both sides of the hips, sit bones. From your seat, come on up. Straighten your legs. Come off your support. And we'll set up for Shavasana. I'm going to do blankets under my knees, just to help release my lower back. So you find your your favorite Shavasana. I'm also a fan of putting a blanket over my legs and then maybe a blanket for the head. All right. You made it. Bring a little bit of the shoulder blade tips up and then release the shoulders, release your arms, and then let more of an energetic lift remain. Give your pelvis way to the legs, to the feet. Soften, melt the muscles of your face. And notice if you're holding, you're gripping, and you release into more of a softer version. Okay, I am going to leave you here in your Shavasana. Peace, namaste. Hope you enjoyed the sequence. Let me know what you thought, and I hope to see you real soon. Namaste.